So in this, one of our speakers is also joining us virtually. This is about space tech in India. Let us now see the story of how the young minds of India are venturing into space. We have Dr. Srimati Kesan, founder and CEO of Space Kids India, who is joining us virtually. Rifat Shahrukh, CTO of Space Kids India, can we please request you to please join us on stage? And Kirtan Chand, software engineer at Space Kids India. They are as young as 23 and 24, and they're going to demonstrate satellites today, right here. Let's hear that for them, please.
Good afternoon. Very happy to be here. So before getting to the talking of all about space, first we will have a small video of what we have done so far. So it's going to be all rockets and satellites. So let's get you excited first, and then we will talk about the satellites. So let's have the video first. Thank you. So today we have our CEO and founder Dr. Srimati Kesan joining us online. So we will begin the talk with her introduction and then we will proceed.
She was a dreamer, a powerful woman, but though she led the parade with the sword, the first woman in the country to do so, and played about 10 national basketball and state athlete, a paratrooper and a rifle shooter silver medalist, yet was jumped into spatula as she got married. 16 years later, the spatula turned out to be a woo and went into the space industry. And that's how this powerful woman at home is into the space industry and started this organization called Space Kids India. Chennagide, Bangalore. This is Dr. Srimati Kesan, founder CEO of Space Kids India, where this organization began as a scientific educational tourism organization as a solopreneur from home in the year 2010. Was given the ambassador status to NASA, ESA and GCTC, the top 3 research centers of the world. And then from there on thought must have a change. When I sell potatoes, I do not want to keep selling potatoes. I want to make potato wafers and finger chips. So I said, if this could be applied in the niche industry called space, then I should be building satellites and rockets. So these are the satellites that we built. And of course, my kids there on the dais are going to talk to you more about the technical part. We are the only organization in the country to have built about 24 missions. 18 balloon sats, 3 suborbital launches, and 3 orbital satellites. So this is the story of
recording in progress.
And I think this, I think you would have seen the flag that went up near space for the 75th Independence Day. And Space Kids India has done that. These children joined Space Kids India from grade 8 and today doing their doctoral program. So the journey has been beautiful and very, very interesting. Furthermore, I think Rifat and Kirtan will talk to you about the technical stuff that we use in the satellites. Yes, Rifat, go on.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today online. So let's have the presentation. Can we have the slides online? So hello guys, good afternoon. So we are going to talk about what private space tech companies are doing in India. So we heard about, we heard from our CEO. So let's start with our introduction. We have quite some memes here today. So I'm Rifat Shahrukh. I'm the CTO and lead scientist of Space Kids India. I'm 23, recently completed my master's in physics and about to do my PhD in nanosatellites. And I am the hardware guy. So I build satellite hardware, and in front of me we have
hello everyone, this is Kirtan Chen. I'm 20 years old, currently pursuing my final year of bachelor's. I've been working with Space Kids since 2016 and I am the software guide in Space Kids.
So this story is about how a bunch of kids back in school dreamed about space and one day they really did it. So what we do actually? So we have something here. It looks very interesting, right? So what is it? So this is actually a satellite. Can you believe? It is just as small as a Rubik cube. So this is what we do at Space Kids India. So we used to have bigger satellites like this in old days. But nowadays we have very, small and cute satellites. What is nano satellite? How it became possible? Satellites used to be like 2.5 tons, 3 tons like that. To answer that, we have to look back at your mobile. Your mobiles are what? Basically computers. Computers used to be as big as this room. As the technology has advanced, now your mobile phone is more powerful than the computer which was used on the moon program. What is a satellite? I would say satellites are nothing but flying computers optimized for orbiting on Earth. So they are just computers using radio for communication instead of Ethernet and solar panel for the power generation. So with the latest advancements, we are able to reduce the size of the satellites as small as this one. So here we at Space Kids India, we built the world's lightest satellite which was just 64 grams, and now we are building satellites all the way up to 25 kg. But you may ask, what these kind of tiny boxes can do in space? See, ISRO is building bigger satellites, each are like, as big as this room, this stage. But what these tiny boxes can do, you can ask that. The thing is, these things are changing the world. If you take all the commercial space companies in the world, more than 70%, nearly all of them are based on the nano satellites. Because this is going to be the future, this is going to be the next generation of the technology. For example, this satellite can warn you of tsunami, can warn you of disasters. And we have demonstrated successful IoT communication from space. An advantage of nano satellite is, when the satellite is smaller, it weighs lesser. So it is easier to launch and it is economical to launch. And one more main advantage is it is economical to launch. Why it is necessary? Because when you build a multi-million-dollar satellite weighing around 2 tons, you need to have at least a lifetime of 5 to 7 years in space to get your return on investments. But what will happen is, by the time of the end of life, you are having a very outdated technology in space. Your customers are getting an outdated technology. But here with the CubeSats, every 2 years, since these are just couple of $100,000s, you can launch a satellite every couple of years, which means your customers will always get the up-to-date technology At the same time, you can form constellations, so the frequency of data collection can be improved. So that's why we have companies like Planet Global, Spire, all these people launching hundreds of nanosatellites. Even the Starlink's satellite from SpaceX weighs around just 200 kg, comes under the category of small satellites. So this is why we are focusing on nanosatellites.
Software. Software is beautiful, isn't it? We can use the software to build apps which can deliver food. At the same time, we can use the software to build rockets which can put our payloads in orbit. So if I talk about CubeSats especially, we have multiple modules inside. We use multiple languages. We use multiple protocols inside. So if I just give you an example, let's say I want to transmit sensor data which is inside my satellite to a customer. So what we do is we have a code, we have a particular code which is dedicated only to get data from sensor, another code which processes this data, another code which converts into transmittable form, and another code which transmits it. And there's another code on the ground which tracks a satellite and gets it back, and APIs to connect it to the other side of the client. So basically we use almost all languages and available latest technologies. So if you look at this picture, this is the antenna which is on top of our lab in Chennai. So we use this antenna to get data from satellites.
So hardware we develop, right? Modern problems requires modern solutions, right? See, what we are doing different in Space Kids India is, even though the nanosatellites are small, 1 kg of satellite, like a 1 new satellite like that, can cost you around 1.5 crores. That's very expensive, right? The reason is most of the hardware, the subsystems needed for these kind of nanosatellites are being developed in Europe and US. India started quite late in the race of nanosatellites. That's what we wanted to change. When we started the development of nanosatellites back in 2015, I was actually a school kid. Okay, I was in my 11th grade. I wanted to build a satellite because it was so cool to have your own satellite in space, right? It didn't start as a business idea. It started as more of like a technology exploration, and then we understood how much business potential it has. Most of the time the money is developed, the money is spent on the development and R&D, which is expensive in other countries, and we Indians always have the optimal solution. That's how we launched the Mangalyaan to Mars, within the cost of, a lot of movies and the share autos cost per kilometer. So we wanted to apply the same, and we are the only Indian company to entirely manufacture nanosatellite subsystems here in India, and we have already proven it. We have launched 3 satellites in orbit in collaboration with ISRO, 2 satellites in collaboration with NASA. So we develop end-to-end systems from the mechanical structure, onboard computer, communications, and also, the ground systems. The entire thing, hardware, we indigenously develop. Not just the hardware, we have a software guy. So let's hear what he does.
Okay, we at Space Kids India, we developed our own flight computer, which means like we don't need to, as Rifat told, we don't need to import it from other countries. We don't have to depend on others. We developed the flight computer software as well. So this software is equipped with a lot of latest features. Let's say there are multiple payloads inside. There are a lot of customers inside. Our main controller is capable of collecting data from each and every computer, each and every payload of customers, and it can relay it back to the exact customer. Its encryption and everything is built in. Apart from that, we also have this feature called OTA updates, on the air updates. Let's say our entire team, we were working on the software, and let's say we made some bug, there's a bug which got escaped from event testing. So we have capability where we can write a new update and send it to a satellite. So it is like it's similar to pushing code into GitHub or AWS, but we push it to our satellites.
We have developed our own Linux operating system which runs on the satellite. So we are developing a Space OS which powers all our satellites, and we are also working on our own Orthos. It gives us the capability for end-to-end manufacturing in India, which has significantly reduced the price of nanosatellite systems. So let's look at what are the satellites we have done. So this is our high altitude balloon mission. So these are mostly like test missions. Before flying a satellite into orbit, we put this in the high altitude balloon and test it. So that is one thing.
This is Satish Dhawan satellite. This is a 3U cube satellite. This is 1U, right? If you stack 3 of them on top of each other, it's 3U. So it's a 3U cube satellite. And there's an M2M communication satellite, which can be used for IoT. And this was launched on PSLV C53. And as you can see that the satellite is getting ejected from rocket and there's Earth in the view.
So the next one is the Azadi Sat, my favorite satellite. We launched it back in August 7th on SSLV D1. Unfortunately, we had a launch vehicle failure, but we are working with ISRO to launch this again sometime next month. So we are working on that. This is an exciting mission. This is particularly developed for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, where we selected 750 girl students across India and trained them to build experiment which was launched on this satellite. So we are doing that again, and soon it will go to space. And this is going to be, thank you. And this is going to be one of the biggest satellite we have ever launched. It is going to be like 50 into 50 into 50 centimeter. From developing satellite, which is just small as this thing, now we are building satellites more than, this big. And we are just, we have a lot of features which can help, the scientific technology, also the commercial applications. We are really excited about it. And as a, last pinch of excitement, space is not always beautiful and exciting. We also have a lot of failures. And being a hardware and software guy, we would just, like to let you know what are some lame hardware issues the industry has done. Not us, we are also done, but generally what industry has done. One time the accelerometer in rocket was installed upside down. When the rocket was launched, the rocket thought it's going, upside down. So it just took a complete U-turn and just crashed on the land. So like that, we have a lot of problems. And since NASSCOM being a software, focused thing, let's have a look what software issues has caused problems in space industry.
As I mentioned before, OTA updates. Fine, okay, let's assume there's a mistake. I can update it. What if there's a problem with OTA update software itself? That is one of the problem happened in one of the mission previously. And also there's one more thing. There was a rocket, this probe is going to Mars, and there was one team, they programmed an entire satellite using miles, and another team they programmed using kilometers. Imagine how...
There are a lot of errors like this, like we had overflow errors because of that, $500 million rocket was, burned, and we had a lot of, conversion errors, like that, lot of software errors, like mostly like, if you look at the statistics, like if hardwares are contributing half, major problems have caused because of one small logic error in the software. So you software engineers, please get your compilation and runtime errors good, okay? Get it fixed. So our upcoming missions, we are having a lot of exciting things coming up. Maybe you might be knowing from the picture. So let's hear it from our CEO, what the future is holding for Space Kids India.
Hi, I shrunk my kids. Oh my God, this was it when I started Space Kids India. We said we were going to build Gulab Jamun satellites because, the size of a Gulab Jamun, because we did not have money. We were thinking, what can we do the jugards, Indians are too smart with jugards. My entire kitchen became a lab. For the suborbital missions, we used my we used my kitchen as a lab. Isn't it interesting? So that's how people think, space is so niche. If you do not have a lab, you cannot start anything. So every step we wanted to break that. We wanted to tell people that get into space. It's beautiful. It's just that you need to use a little common sense and a little bit of jugaad to do interesting stuff. Yes, right before you, you can see this is the Satish Dhawan Sat. This one that we built and launched year last. And the Azadi Sat with 750 girl children, government school girl children from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. This is the Azadi Sat. And the upcoming missions, that's going to be very interesting because you know what we've named? You know how the satellite is going to go? Yes, it's going to go on a rickshaw. As economical as a rickshaw, which is a nostalgic part of our past. So we have named our vehicle Space Rickshaw which is going to carry a spacecraft to the moon. So start thinking, what is the kind of payload that you want to send to the moon, as economical as a ride on a rickshaw? And then we are going to be doing interplanetary missions in the same cost. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was fabulous presenting here. Thank you so much, NASSCOM, for giving us this opportunity. And Namaskara, Bangalore.
Thank you so much, guys. So we are building a spacecraft which is as low as a rickshaw. So that's why we have named it Space Rickshaw. And our first mission to the moon is going to be sometime by end of 2024 or the beginning of 2025. So we are going to moon. Are you guys ready to join us in the ride? We need all your blessings and support. Thank you so much to the NASSCOM for this opportunity. You guys are doing an amazing thing. I hope in future NASSCOM will also cover the software part of the space industry, because everything, the IT, the cyber security, everything is becoming a big thing in space. So best wishes to NASSCOM for that, and thank you so much to all of you guys. See you.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you.